Okay, everybody, are you wondering about what it's like to work with me? Well, I have one of just my dearest clients, Mary, to talk about her experience working with me today. So I just want to say welcome, Mary.
Thank you. So great to talk with you
Absolutely.
after our years of working together.
7 years, you found me. 7, we just did that math.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So Mary found me online 7 years ago and did a 3-month program. That's my 3-month intensive private program. And then I also keep doing group calls for the community. And so Mary finished my private program, learned so much about diabetes, and now has stayed part of the community just by being in the group program. So Mary, I want to first say, how long have you had type 1?
I have diabetes 56 years.
56 years.
Just last month. Yeah. I was 12 years old and it
Wow.
was, brand new. We didn't know what it was.
You have seen it all, haven't you? You have seen
right.
it all.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, it has really opened up since I got it. And as you know, modern medicine has been, I have to say, mostly on our side, mostly to make it amazing difference. And what they know now, imagine a new diabetic today, what they can offer them of how to manage
rapid insulin and CGMs. But I'm here to say, though, don't you think, though, that educational pieces, the technology is there, but the educational piece is missing?
Is missing. Absolutely. And even till today, our doctors don't cover what they need to.
Right.
They don't cover it at all. They just don't. They don't go near it, but you cover everything. The whole person is the key to what you do, which is what diabetes is. It walks with you every day. It's not like something you can pick up like a cold and get rid of next week. And so with you, you were more into the whole lifestyle and a lot of good things to do to make it manageable.
It says a lot that after having diabetes for 50 years, you still reached out to have a 3-month program with me, right? That's very telltale about, you were still looking for answers after 50 years, weren't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was very looking for, and I knew when I heard the way you spoke about it, that I had already believed in some of the things that you were saying. And I wasn't hearing them from my medical world at all. Mm-hmm. And so it was the connection with, she's right. She's right. I know what she's talking about. And it made me feel that I could learn more, but that it was the right way to go at it, because I have to say I had wonderful parents, and they were very good at not making me sick or not making me a sick child. They were great at that. My dad was the best. And so he did lots of little things to make me move forward since I was 12 years old, and that was young. But, and I did. I went to college. I went to overnight, college, and I went to teaching, and I lived in New York and Pennsylvania and Delaware. I've moved around. I had great, fortune, but every time I moved and I had a new medical doctor, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Oh, I could tell stories.
Mary, you are not alone. And I know you know that. I mean, that's why thousands of people around the world follow me. And I've had type 1 for 42 years, so not as long as you, but that is why I do what I do, is because there's educational pieces that are absolutely missing. And so what would you say are 3 tools that you have learned from me that you hadn't learned in those 50 years before finding me?
Well, one of the greatest things that you taught us was to take baby steps to change something, to don't rush it, to plan it, to go slower at it. And one of those steps was to use the law of small numbers. I mean, you clearly said if you had less insulin in you, you wouldn't go so low.
Right.
And if you had less insulin, you'd have less carbs. And 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 yet you also gave a lot of ways to have a very colorful, dynamic plate with healthy food. And so we did that. And I would say those smaller numbers really helped. The other thing was that to take a bolus ahead of meals. That's the key. Oh my, to take it ahead. No one ever said that. No one ever thought it. And I was on shots for years.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to take your shot, but to take it a little bit ahead would have been so much better.
Yeah.
So I know that that helped me a lot. And the other one was to be creative with your healthy food. And I think as a group, when we worked with the group, we had lots of recipes for new dressings and new syrups and new things that would help us enjoy it more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have
And
a whole
that
little
made-
I have a whole e-cookbook that my
exactly.
clients get.
And I use it every day. It's like all the time. Yeah. It's
Right.
very, very it's handy. It makes all the difference.
Great.
I think the other thing that we did was to take care of the whole person. You cared about how we felt about ourselves, and you cared about using like how diabetes affects exercise, affects sleep, affects walking, or affects your emotions with your family. All of those things need to be looked at a little bit in order to balance it all.
Yes.
And not let it run you into a where you're stuck.
We are a whole person. We aren't just blood sugar levels.
And I always thought when I was growing up not to stay stuck. Like you get stuck with stuff and all. I used to call it rebooting. But every month, 2 months or so, I would reboot on all of the diabetes things rather than staying stuck. You could see it if your sugars are starting to go high.
Yeah.
You'd be stuck. And but I don't do that anymore.
How is life better now that you have been in my group now for years and did the program? How is life better?
Life is better because I manage with simple, and I understand the connection between protein and carbohydrates and fats. I never learned that until I met you. And I also understand the connection between the exercise and insulin, because I was always complaining about going low, and it's so clear that it's 2 months insulin that makes you go low. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
And I learned that right away from you, and that made a big difference.
Oh,
I also think I learned that more about taking care of my whole body.
yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And
Well,
it does make a difference.
It does. Well, I mean, as a holistic physician, that is at the core. It's like, we can't just look at what your blood sugar levels are doing and what your A1C is. I want to know what I call my meds, right? All your meds. How is your mindset, right? Are you meditating? Are you, how are your moods, exercise, diet, sleep, right? Or what I used to call 4 pillars, right? These key aspects of our health that are so often forgotten in diabetes care. So I am so grateful to you for reflecting.
And I felt like a full person, because when I was growing up, the only thing my family and my doctors cared about was the number.
Mm-hmm.
And you've become a number. Now, they were very loving and kind about it, but it was just the number, and the number had to be right. And of course, you know what that was like.
A lot of pressure.
Right. But now, almost now, I have confidence in my body, and the numbers are almost predictable. I can tell you what I'm going to be when I wake up anymore.
That's so great. That's so great.
Because of my pump, it's predictable.
Yeah.
It's just, most, if it's not, there's something else going on, but mostly it's predictable. And I have confidence in that in my body.
Great. Great.
So
Well,
it
thank
really
you.
makes a difference.
Makes a difference. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Mary, for taking the time to share your experience with everybody that's watching.
And you're welcome. I'm so glad to talk with you today. And I just want to say that outside of modern medicine, the way you are grateful for who you are, your attitude towards life in general has made it, it was always okay to manage it. It was a good thing. It was part of being well. Wellness was in your conversation. And that's what I believed in, but I wasn't hearing from
Yeah.
the world. But I got a lot of that from you and all the people in the group. Knowing other people in the group is big, 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 big.
Isn't it fun? We have so much
Oh,
fun. We have so much
it's
fun in our
great.
meetings.
It's so nice. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It really is. And each week week is a different topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the
We've
time.
done,
It's
well, you know, it's
great.
amazing. I figured we've been doing 2 topics a month for 5, 6, 7 years. And I rarely feel like we've even repeated a topic.
Hardly. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
We
amazing.
always come up with different things, but they've been very good.
Great.
What I learned about supplements and nutrition with it,
Yeah.
all kinds of things. Yeah. So
Great.
thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Well,
I'm
Mary, this
very
is, go ahead.
fortunate. I'm very fortunate. And I'm 67 years old and I'm so glad to be alive.
Yeah. You're
And I'm not worried about tomorrow,
Love it. Love it. Well, Mary,
Yeah.
you're doing a beautiful service on sharing your experience with everybody who's watching today. If you are
Thanks.
struggling with your diabetes, just simply go to my website. You can sign up for a private call with me. You can check out my online courses. You can send an email if you go to the contact link at the bottom, and I can tell you about all the group programs as well. So my website is Dr. Jody N as a naturopathic D doctor.com. So DRJODYND.com. Or you can just Google the words Dr. Jody Diabetes and all my stuff comes up. So Mary, thank you so much for sharing your experience with everybody who watched this video today.
And thanks for all you do for all the people that you work with.
It's a pleasure.
It's marvelous. Yeah, you do an awful lot. Thanks.
Thank you, Mary. Bye, everybody.